starting soon.
Alrighty, so we're gonna play some A Link to the Past tonight. I guess we're gonna introduce ourselves. I'm BambooShadow, and I'm joined by
Z4T0X.
and we got our strugglers with us. We got
Stanner93.
Suckers do. And Coolpan.
so yeah. We're gonna play any percent no major glitches. I guess the guys will soon talk a little bit more about that, and I guess yeah. Guess we can start the run now, right? You guys all set? Alrighty. So 3, 2, 1. All right.
Only one. You have to start, right?
Yeah, only me.
Cool.
It
Okay.
should work.
Good.
3, 2, 1, go! Yeah, like so first we just smash through these text boxes when we wake up at our uncle's house and we get like telepathically connected by Zelda, which is like capture or something. And our uncle wants to save her, so he's like going there immediately and we're gonna chase after him.
So actually the first thing both of our runners will do is actually something which is called pumping. Pumping is really important up to the point where you get the dash boosts, and in specific ways our hero Link actually have a specific animation. Like every animation have a specific point of pixels where he moves per frame, and pumping is only possible if you go to the north or to the west. And you basically walk to the north, for example, and there's to your right a wall, and then you're mashing the right direction. And with this pumping, we can actually reset the animation, and so we can go a little bit faster. An important thing is don't do the pumping if you walk to the south or to the east, because that will actually make you slower, because every direction have a specific animation speed, and so it's just worth it to go for the north and for the west.
Yeah, shoutouts to Almegas. I guess when he started playing this game, like I was told that when he started playing this game, and he did also pump to the right and downwards. Worst RNG possible. Again. So like we got some quick strats to go through these rooms, and this is mostly movement optimization, trying to not notch at every corner and trying to pump whenever you go to the left or whenever you go upwards. So that's why we're also holding our gamepads in a rather weird way probably sometimes. But
Yeah.
like it's a little faster every now and then.
Yeah, basically the best way to see the difference between not pumping, RTA pumping and test pumping is actually on comparison. There's actually a video, and it's really amazing if you see the difference between not pumping at all and pumping with a task, with a tool-assisted tool, which is really insane. It's most likely feels like double the speed, and it's really impressive to see because it does make a big difference in the game at all. For example, the normal split for the escape is actually about 6 minutes, and the really good ones get about the 550 at this, even lower. So both going for safe strats actually. If you throw the pot to the ball and chain guy, you actually do quite a lot of damage. And we always try to optimize the grab of the boss key while throwing the boomerang. And basically the thing is, if you throw the boomerang, you catch it real quick, even before the animation of the item landing is finished. So we save a few frames there.
Yeah, like Z4T0X likes to do only slashes on the guard, but
Yeah.
I guess for a marathon run it doesn't hurt.
No, I got really bad RNG on both green guard, 3 green guards, so I lost already 1 heart.
Oh yeah.
Better not. I'm not used to the pot strat, not at all.
Yeah, like hopefully we don't have to improvise throughout the race too much to actually succeed on the art estimate. I mean, like 140 is, at least for us, like a quite tough estimate, I would say.
By the way, in A Link to the Past, we probably have the best rescue the person quest we ever have. Like Princess Zelda is actually just following on straight, so she will do whatever we want in that case. And yeah, she will give us some hints where to go. because at the beginning of the quest, he actually told us, yeah, we should go to the king's room so we can probably escape because there's a secret exit.
Yeah, talking about hints, we can't really read them because we play on Japanese. Like with most Zelda games, we're playing the Japanese version because the text boxes are just shorter, and also there are some Japanese 1.0 exclusive glitches. Like we haven't seen any of them yet, but we will see some of them later.
Yeah, the really interesting point about those different versions of the game is the Japanese versions actually got a lot of updates. Like we have a 1.0, 1.1, 1.2 version. And the American and the European people actually got just one version, which is quite weird, and most of the stuff that's happening in the Japanese version got fixed in the other version. So that's also a reason why, even if you want to play this game as a speedrun and do not have the Japanese one, you really want to have the Japanese one. And right here in this room they do the pumping again, because walking in the water is really slow. And we can actually improve the speed by far a bit if we're pumping there. And this is basically the first RNG heavy room here. Like, there are 3 rats, and one of the rats actually have a drop with a small key, and we need them.
Some of them drop rupees.
And some of them drop rupees. Like, if you kill 2 rats at the same spot, you will most likely get the rupee. And we already had runner that catch the rupee while we're in front of the door, and yeah, we have to go back. Sub 6, really good. Actually, there's a small skip if you enter the room and walk directly to the right or to the left. You skip a few text boxes from Zelda. So, will somebody of you skip the sand card?
No. Shoutouts to Joe DeMilio. They did a 4-way race at, I guess it was HDQ 2017. It was like Joe DeMilio, Andy, Zelna, and Blonde Bunny. Shoutouts to all of these guys. Those are all amazing. A link to the past speedrunners. And Joe was the only one who picked up the same card and got like booed by the audience. So that didn't happen here tonight. So that's a good sign.
Boo. So to understand why the Sang card is such an important item, the early game is not really that important for the Sanctuary Heart, but beginning with a Dark World, the game gets really difficult because we don't do the intended way. And the Sanctuary Heart actually allows you in a lot of boss fights to get one additional hit. And sometimes it's just the one hit that actually saves you from not having a good run. Other way around, it saves you from having a good run. So the Sanctuary Heart is really essential. It does save time if you skip it, but most of the time, and a lot of runners actually don't skip it. Yeah, exactly, it's 3 seconds, so if you're just going for world record or want to improve your really good world record time, then you should start going for it. And at this point, we have the stairs, and at the stairs it's also important to pump. And if we pump at the stairs, we can actually skip the Blue Guardian at this point. If you don't pump, you're not able to do that.
Solid enter Eastern Palace.
Okay. Next up, the Eastern Palace. We basically just go straight forward to this game, and the next screen here right now is we have a little bit of RNG here. The cannonballs actually have to play a good way, like we want to have them on the right side. I guess both will pick up a safe heart, yes. So in the game there are several different items to restore our health, and this is a rather quick one. In the skeleton room we actually have a really neat strat. Normally 4 of the skeletons will spawn, but if we kill the 2 skeletons at the top before spawning them, the door will open and the last 2 skeletons will not spawn. And both of them did it really good.
I'm really glad I got that. We did like some practice runs yesterday and it did not go well.
Okay, and both go for the additional arrow. Like, it is possible to actually skip that arrow chest or the arrows there, but apparently you need to rely on drops later on. So you could save a little bit of time, but you have to be lucky to get at the end of the dungeon additional arrow drops. Otherwise you have to go back for another pot, which actually loses time, but there's still a way to continue after that.
Apparently.
20 rupees, yeah.
Big 20. Yeah, I'm already really good with rupee count. Like, if you can collect 30 rupees right at the start, like makes later parts a little easier.
So at this screen we actually do a small damage boost to actually get the chest quite early. Because normally in this room you have to kill all the enemies, and after you kill all enemies the anti-fairies actually start to move, and then you're able to actually lift the pot and to hit the trigger. But with a small damage boost we can speed it up by quite a bit. So this is basically a really good strat, even if you lose a little bit of health. Yeah. The run is not legit if they are chest turns. Like, I remember there was a race between the really good runners like Joey and, oh god, who was the other guy? I don't know, I think Blunt Bunny was also at this one. And they did a race where they have to chest turn every chest, otherwise they have to reset to the last split. And this race was quite long.
Like one hit KO with chest turns.
Yes, something like that. So this is a cannonball room, pretty simple, and the next one is a Zelda gamer room. Yeah, damage boost all the way. And the game do have a lot of RNG in several different spots. For example, in this game, in this screen, the skeletons could have moved in a different way, so you have to adjust real quick.
Worst RNG possible.
Again.
Yeah, maybe we'll see 2 times the 19 arrow strat. So basically you need to hit all of the armors with 18 arrows if you do the blast skip. Well, did it really well. And Bamboo actually did the 19 arrow strat. A small little detail at this point, we try to grab the pendant as low as possible because it does save a few frames.
I don't do that, but...
For the next pendants, Bamboo.
Yeah, like you can realize from what Krill said right now, this run can be insanely optimized, which is also the reason why the world recce is 17 minutes under our estimate. There are like lots of little optimizations and stuff. It's quite obnoxious in my opinion, but like if you're up for the grind, go get it. Some people say it's free.
It's definitely free, yes. So at this time we got the Pegasus boots from Sahasrara. Good thing that I didn't flip over by that name. Shra. Like, this name is just confusing. And now we see the first exclusive 1.0 glitch. It's called the spin speed.
First try.
First try.
First try.
Every time.
Anything before was just an illusion. And basically the spin speed, like, if you do a spin, you get a really weird state on Link. And if you press right 1 frame after you do the spin, the A button, you can keep the state. And that actually is not the reason for it that both of them run as 4 pixels per frame. That's actually the dashing speed. Actually, when they move onto a ladder and leave that ladder to the north or to, let me think about, no, to the south or to the right, and have the state activated, they immediately start walking with the dashing boot speed, which helps quite a lot because this strat allows us in NMG to actually save quite a few seconds, yeah. And in other glitch categories, this actually allows us to clip between several different layers quite easily. So I believe in this game, in this category, it's about 4 to 5 seconds with a spin speed.
Yeah, like this is one of the glitches which is labeled minor glitches. So the Link to the Past community likes to separate between major glitches and minor glitches. Obviously, major glitches would be glitches that break the game tremendously because the any % world record is like under 2 minutes or something, I guess. Oh, please dash. God.
And did we get it? Did you get it? No, no fruit bat dash.
you made up for all my struggle.
Yeah, like you're gonna catch up later and with the Desert Palace boss anyway.
So yeah, just for information, actually, we collect in the library the book of Mudora. And this books actually help us to open the Desert Palace, but we also need a but we also need the book of Mudora to actually get the Master Sword later on and the medallions. And we saw Z4T0X was actually doing a perfectly executed RNG manipulation there.
Yeah, like we like to laugh about our mess ups and whatnot.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
We got $5 donation from Don saying lots of love, guys, and good luck. Heart, heart, heart.
Thank you, Don. Keep them coming. Yeah, so like, there's a lot of dashing in this dungeon. Since we got the boots and these screens are quite large, you just try to dash through these screens, and we can only dash in cardinal directions. One thing that is a little bit annoying is that you can you can only start your dash once the screen transition is like completed. So that is something that we mess up quite a lot. And that's also one of the things where like pro players like Zelda and whatnot, they save a lot of time with that compared to our execution here. So like I said, insanely optimized.
For example, in the room where both of them got the master key, or the boss key, I think it's boss key in A Link to the Past, there are cannonballs, and the thing is, the cannonballs do not have the same pattern every time, and we actually can use visual cues to know what kind of pattern we got, and we can also use audio cues. So at some points you can actually dash through the whole screen in one turn, and sometimes you need to interrupt your dash to actually continue without getting hit.
Did Z4T0X get the good cannonball RNG?
Yes.
Ooh.
So you should prepare yourself, Bamboo. Somebody doing risky strats? No. And Z4T0X? Maybe? No. So if you want, you could actually do a spin speed at this point as well. Keep the Book of Mudora and run to the bottom. And then you switch to the lamp to actually not jump down the cliff. Like, a lot of good runners do that actually, and quite a few of them lost a run because they jumped down the ledge. And yeah, this is actually something like, let me say, half a minute time loss, maybe more. So yeah, you just want to go for it if you really, really want to save the frames.
Yeah, obviously we're not good runners.
You are a good runner, trust me.
No, like, the thing is, there are lots of risky strats, but we're trying to play it safe most of the time here, which isn't always possible because some of the bosses are really hard. Next boss shouldn't be too hard, but it's quite RNG heavy in my opinion, and I'm really bad also with that boss, so I guess Z4T0X can catch up here. Fingers crossed.
I call it 2 cycle.
Oh yeah, how many cycles? We have 2 cycles?
4 cycles.
I say 3 cycles. So you have to imagine every cycle is all of the worms spawning once. So Bamboo is at the 2nd cycle right now. Got a kill there. It could go to a 3 cycle. No. Yeah, we got an early 4 cycle there.
3.
And Z4T0X
Nice.
got the 3 cycle.
That's pretty good actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you have to imagine, the Lemolo fight is pretty. I wouldn't say it's difficult because it's.
Oh, your phone.
It's rather easy to actually beat the boss, but to beat the boss really optimized, that makes it so hard because you have to react how they actually jump. Do we see a cactus dash?
No swag strats.
So basically, the Lemolo fight is quite RNG heavy because you do not know what happened after the first spawn. So you have to adjust to it, and actually hitting the Lenmos with a bow is really difficult. And upcoming next is so-called the fake flippers. It's quite interesting because normally you are not allowed to swim at this point because you need flippers for that. But if you enter the screen 1 pixel before entering the screen transition, you can actually get into the next screen, and then the screen thinks, okay, he can swim, so let's continue. But there's a big disadvantage, and both of them got around that. If you got hit while in the water on the next screen, you get pushed back to the ground, and you soft lock the game. Nice. It's everything for. It's all for RNG manipulation for Ganon later, I believe.
Like I tried to pull off some sort of new strats I saw recently on Blunt Bunny's task. Shout out to Blunt Bunny for that task, that was quite entertaining. But I shot the arrow quite the wrong way. Not too bad though.
Death Mountain, yes. A small fun fact, this is the only cage where you can mash or in this case, you can actually mash the X button to progress through the text boxes without losing any time after the text boxes are done. Because in any other dungeons, there are a lot of things that actually spawn like there. Like if you mash the X button in dungeons, you get the map, and you don't want that. And just a nice info: if you lose a lot of hearts, you can actually go back into the into the cave.
Oh, whatever.
And the old man is actually healing you. And we are talking like something like, yeah, you go into the back, get a kiss from the old man, and so you're on full health.
Old man kisses.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Not working at all, really.
Betrayed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So we got a quick warp.
Yeah.
Z4T0X was actually a quick warp. Like, there's a difference between quick warp and non-quick warp. If you stand on a specific position on the x-axis...
What the fuck? I don't know.
Time for a quick donation?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we got a $10 donation from Flameseeker saying, "Come on, Z4T0X, you can do it, Champagner." Thank you for your donation.
Thanks, yeah. Nice. Yeah, like we tried to do something in this room which is called boomerang dashing, which is like item dashing. Oh, nice. And Z4T0X got it. It like makes this room a little more relaxing because like you just can rest your hands for a bit, but I'm already down 2 hearts, so I try to not struggle anymore here. And yeah, but barely saves anytime, so shouldn't be too much of a difference.
The problem is a lot of times you actually mess it up and hit the switch before entering the area to progress. And on the other hand, it's also you have to press the Y button and the A button at the same time to do the item dash, which is quite precise. And you also have to do a 1-frame trick to actually throw the boomerang in the other direction. So it's not that easy, but it does look really cool.
It's one of the swag strats, which is like saving basically nothing.
Maybe we see a bitch switch? Yeah. So yeah, we call that switch the bitch switch because it changed the state of the blue and the... I don't know which color is the other one. The orange one? Brown one?
Orange.
I would say orange,
Brown.
yeah. Something like that. And the first bomb jump, yeah. So we can later grab hearts. And Bamboo there did the bomb jump, which is Z4T0X doing right now. It allows you to get over small gaps quite easily, and it's kind of sequence break the game because normally you have to go to the top of the tower, fall down, and then you get the chest. But with a small trick we can actually damage boost over those gaps. And yes, the next boss, Moldorm. It's actually a really difficult boss if you play this game the first time casually, because not only that Moldorm is quite fast at this point, but all around the arena there are pits.
I hate this boss.
And the problem is, if you fall down on the outside of the arena, you fall down one screen. But if you go into the middle hole, you actually lose 2 floors, so you have to go back quite a lot. And yeah, this was actually a really good fight. Sub 23 is not bad at all.
Yeah, like sub 23 catch. A little low 23 when you split on like the sword animation there. But like we expected way worse so far.
Yeah.
There's still enough time to struggle. And
Yeah,
not
like,
time stuff.
Maybe we should talk about that weird thing, bomb jumping there.
I thought I did.
Oh, okay. Maybe I overheard that. Sorry.
Well, did you explain why they dashed at the bomb jump?
Oh yeah, actually, the dash is a mechanic to help a bomb jump. Because normally, if you just get boosted by the bomb, you actually have 2 pixels, or you have to be 2 pixels close to the ledge of the gap. But if you do a dash, you actually get 4 pixels, so it's much more easier for you because you have more space to actually work with.
Worst RNG possible.
So,
Again.
to explain what they're doing right now, they actually pulled the first tree, which got us 4 times 5 rupees. And the difficult part right now is we do not want to get hit again, because that actually reset a counter. And if you kill at least 4 enemies on your way to the next rupee tree, you can increase the 5 rupees you got to a next spawn of 4 times getting 20 rupees. And we actually need 110 rupees up to the Palace of Darkness, because we need actually 110 rupees to open that.
Yeah, both of our rupee counts are looking pretty good. 40 is like way more than you need right now.
Yes. For example, Bamboo, if you would have collect one more additional 5 rupee, you could have got skip one of the red ones.
Yep.
Like for real, sometimes if you got a lot of rupees, you want to skip one of the red ones. It actually doesn't save that much time, but if you can go for it, you do it.
Nice grab there.
I think the safety mushroom, which would give them the safety powder later, which helps a lot of runners to be consistent in many bosses, especially in Misery Maya, which you're going to see later.
Yeah, to actually, it's not just the mushroom, you will give it later back to the witch, and the witch actually turned the mushroom into magic powder. And the magic powder allows you to, for example, to spray powder on an anti-fairy to get a fairy. This safety actually is about 40-second time loss, but it's really good because the fairies can help you quite a lot to actually survive the game. And I strongly believe that a lot of runners feel a lot more safer to doing the strats they want to do if they knew they could get a fairy if they mess it up. And yeah, now we are in Hyrule Castle, and Hyrule Castle have one of the, I think, of the most, or of the best rooms in the game. Like, you can do a lot of stuff there. And in this room, both of them actually manipulate the item drop from the enemies. We have specific item pots in several different enemies, or specific enemies are in a group, and if you kill one of the enemies in this group, you actually get a drop. And we knew if we kill the guardians like this, the next drop should be a heart, and the drop after should be a fairy. And later on in the game, if we get lucky, we can hopefully get a fairy when we really need it.
Also, one thing you saw us doing there was like picking up the key and then dash into that key door. I was always wondering when I didn't speedrun the game yet how that works, and that is like you can line up on certain positions and whatnot. Like you saw me lining up with the bottom wall there, so I can just dash into the door even though it's still locked. So if you're gonna try this at home, you gotta find like an object to line up with, and like certain objects work, others don't. I guess it's like a 4-pixel thing, I can't really remember.
Yeah, it's actually 4 pixels. Like if you line up with the bottom of the room and get the next one at 4 pixels, you're allowed to key dash the door. Aghanim, yes.
Both got the bad
Oh, boy.
RNG here.
Everyone's favorite.
Isn't that your nightmare? Technically. So to explain what's happening right soonish at Aghanim is, Aghanim is actually the boss that will teleport you back into the Dark World. And Aghanim have different cycles. Like the first cycle, you will get, no, not different cycles, but Aghanim have actually 2 attacks. One's are the blue balls, and one is the energy ball. And every time he do the first attack, it's always an energy ball. But the second, third, and fourth attack actually have a 50-50% chance to get a blue ball or an energy ball. So what are your guesses for the blue balls?
4 for both.
3 and 5.
I go for 6 and 5.
3 is average.
So maybe the chat should spend some bless RNGs for these 2 guys.
1 and 1. 2-1. Not bad at all. Ooh. Could still be 2. Yeah. 3.
Okay, 3 on bamboo.
4 already.
4 already. Oh,
5.
Sorry, Z4T0X.
he's gonna catch up in Palace of Darkness.
No, I was saying sorry because I said 5 blue balls.
Oh, you call 3-5, right?
6 and 5 actually.
Worst RNG possible.
I'm really
Again.
sorry, I
Again.
called it. No.
Also,
7 blue balls.
I guess that's it, right? Should be it. Like also, to more casual players who are not that much into speedrunning, RNG is like the random number generator, so it's like values that get randomly decided, and one of these things is happening with Aghanim, so it's like, yeah, up to the chances whether you get 0 blue balls or 7. So I'm a little ahead now, but shouldn't be too bad because I'm not very good in the dark world.
Yeah, and basically every additional blue ball you get is about a 4-second time loss. And
Actually, I think it's 6.
6, I thought okay, then 6. And the problem is, after 4 attacks, we saw that Aghanim was doing a cast of Thunder. And if you get even more blue balls, then you have more cycles. And all the time he is doing the Thunder cast, you can't actually do anything about it. You just have to wait.
Oh, I don't know.
Spin
Not
speeds.
working today.
Yeah,
no idea.
Like Krille said before, spin speed is a really precise frame perfect trick, and like sometimes it just won't work. Worked pretty well for me so far. Like I'm also somewhat infamous for messing up spin speeds quite a lot. Yeah, and you saw us getting Kiki there, and he's a bit of a evil monkey. He does blackmail us, and
Hammer jump.
he wants to get 10 rupees at first, so he follows us, and then some more, so he opens up the dungeon. So this is why we collected the 110 rupees.
Basically a bargain sale.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing that could happen is if you carry the monkey to the entrance of the Palace of Darkness, you need actually 10 rupees to pay him to follow you and 100 to open it. And normally we try to get about 110 rupees, maybe a little more if you just got lucky. But the problem is, if you got hit while the monkey is following you, you get rid of the monkey, and so you have to catch another rupee for that, or even more rupees. And the problem is, the drop from the enemies are not for 100%, so most of the runners go for it to boom the enemy, because if you boom the enemy, you always get a green rupee and just farm over and over again. But that's most likely a thing, if you got it in a run, you probably reset.
Yeah.
Yeah, time for the hammer jump. In one of the upcoming rooms, we actually do a bomb jump, like we did in the Tower of Hera. But this one is really precise. We have 2 positions to actually get, and both of the positions are pixel perfect in comparison to the Y-axis. Can we see? Looking good so far? Yeah. Really good hammer jump. The thing is, you have to be on the specific position to actually clip into the rail. And the normal you actually don't see that, but if you clip into the rail, you actually have to hold the up button to not fall down. Like a lot of runners that start with the game actually got the clip, but simply forgot to push the up button, and then they fall down. And then they don't understand, because normally you can't see what the runner is doing.
Also coming up, bomb jump. And even grabbing the double bomb.
Really good.
Nice.
One buffer.
Oh, nice.
And as you noticed, Z4T0X actually got a hard drop. And that was the drop I was referring earlier, which means the next drop from the group of enemies from that kind of stuff will actually get a fairy.
Z4T0X is always laughing at me because I always get the 10-arrow drop there.
Was it a bullseye or was it just...
It was from the top guy.
Maybe we see a sexy statue from Z4T0X?
No.
No? Oh. Didn't watch it. Did Bamboo do that?
No.
So there's actually a way. There's actually a way to push a statue without letting loose of the statue, and it's something like a meme, like, yeah, the sexy statue was for, I don't know, for Bamboo or such. So
Is this it? Is this the run I've been looking for?
the bullseye, yes.
For a year.
It's kind of weird. You should actually hit the statue to the most right, but a lot of runners actually try to hit him in the middle. Oh, not the most right, the most left, sorry. And here we have the Helmester King. You actually have to hit the mask 16 times. You can use the... 17? Oh, I'm getting old. 17 times, and you can do it with a hammer and firebolts, yes, or you could do it with a hammer. And it's actually RNG if he attacks you after 3 dashes with a firebolt or with a tail whip. Yeah, and this fight from Bamboo was quite good.
Turtle Room, yeah. It's awesome.
And that's also one of the reasons we get the Sanctuary Heart for this boss especially, because he does 2 hearts of damage and you can only tank like 3 hearts if you skip the Sank Heart. But if you get the Sank Heart, you can actually tank 1 more hit.
Yeah, like
So-
you don't want to have him to shoot the fireballs.
Another thing is you normally... Oh, let's see if we see it. Yeah. You count the hits that you do to the mask, because when he's spawning... Oh.
Wow. Really? Only
boy.
fireball. Only fireball.
Because
I forgot mashing that for a
Shoutouts
second
to the
because that
Sanctuary
was
Heart.
so tense.
That's the best example for it. The Z4T0X is left with exactly 1 heart.
Shout out to Thank
And
God.
yeah, if he wouldn't have gotten the Sanctuary Heart, he had to redo the dungeon right now.
what I was explaining, like, you normally count the hits on the mask, because once he does this weird fireball, which is like causing the most trouble in this fight, you want to do the last hit while this fireball just spawns, so it just completely despawns. And then you get rid of all the trouble for like at least some time.
So right now we will see one of the first item dash in the games. And nice.
Close.
So the item dash actually allows you to dash at the same time while using an item, which allows us, for example, on this bridge to dash through the pillars there. And the item dash actually works with most of the items, but quite a lot of items don't really have a good use for the item dash. For example, you could do the item dash with a bottle, but the bottle will be used and you dash forward, but that's not really useful, for example.
I recommend item dashing with a bow. It looks interesting.
Yeah, the item dash with the bow looks really interesting, because you start dashing with the bow out, and after you stop, you actually shoot the arrow. Another good example for useful item dash would be with a net, because if you bonk into a tree with a net which have a fairy inside of it, you actually catch the fairy at the first frame possible.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the thing about this game. You always learn something new by just like playing it over 4 years, and still a lot of stuff that you would never notice.
Skipped Usain Bolt, the red guard there. The fastest guard in Hyrule.
Yeah, we call this part the Usain Bolt. It's actually interesting to see To actually skip the red guard, we have to move in a specific way on the screen. We have visual cues for that, but if you don't do that, most of the time you will get hit by the red guard, and so you will lose your spin speed state and your speed, so you have to walk normally. And a lot of people forget if they got hit, they are still in the state. And in this state you can't slash your sword, and so they want to kill them, but yeah, it doesn't work.
You know, so like the flute we just got there is not an optional item. Aside from that, it just gives you the opportunity to go from one place to another really fast. But we also needed to enter Dungeon 6, so that's why we pick it up.
A small fun fact maybe, if you're picking up the shovel, you get the shovel just to get the flute. But the thing is, in the classic edition of this game, you do not get the shovel back after that, so it's got replaced by the flute. But in the, I would say, the modern versions of this game, like with Sword Adventure and such, you actually have a bigger menu which allows you to use the item again after you use it.
I thought you were talking about randomizer. Not that the randomizers guys get disappointed once they play vanilla A Link to the Past because like their shovel is gone.
Yeah, they were actually doing that because they want to keep all the items as possibility. Like, I don't know if this... I don't think that the shovel have an use beside of getting the flute, so maybe just for item farming if they need something.
Yeah, I don't know why they did it. But it's a nice thing. Oh.
Actually, the reason why Bamboo was tried to get the dodge on the lantern at the top is so if you dodge that, you actually get the right position to do an item dash. And this flaw is called the Hellway. Unfortunately, Bamboo had bad RNG, but if you position right at the middle of the roller, you can actually dash through the whole room. Maybe we can see that on Z4T0X stream in a few seconds.
It's a pixel perfect lineup, and it's also depending on the RNG, on the enemy movement in that room. So,
but really satisfying to watch.
Oh yeah, like if you get it, it's really hype every time.
The God Pixel.
Yeah, we call it the God Pixel.
I have a donation to read.
Yeah, shoot.
Okay. Tilmandra donates $5 saying, "Good luck, Alpha Gamers." Official Big Boys Club now? Don't struggle so much, Z4T0X. My girlfriend is cheering for you, Bamboo.
Shoutouts to Tilmandra and his girlfriend.
Thanks for the donation.
And of course, thanks for the donation. Tilmandra is a great guy.
And unfortunately, Z4T0X also had bad RNG, so even if they got the God Pixel, it wouldn't have been possible to do the Hellway dash in the way they wanted.
Another nice grab. Yeah, like this is another dash where you just stand in the doorway and you can key dash into the next room. So you don't bonk against the key door, but open it. Once again, one of the places where you can do this.
And the upcoming fight is actually called the Blind Fight. And the Blind Fight is actually the worst fight ever for a casual gamer, because you have a lot of stuff on screen and it's really annoying to dodge all of that. But hopefully we see a perfect executed fight in this NMG race. Because if you do it perfectly the way you want to do it, this boss fight is really, really easy.
Should be fine.
Beautiful spin at the end. And that was actually really, really close to perfectly executed.
Yeah, like if you hit him always the first frame, once his iframes are gone, the fight is like scripted, so that makes it easier. But I messed it up a little bit, but shouldn't be too bad if you're messing it up a little bit. But I'm gonna shush for Z4T0X's fight. Nice.
Another big problem is if you actually mess up the boss fight and have to do it again, the boss fight is completely different because all boss is already there, and you really have to adjust to that.
Yeah,
So-
I was afraid for my buddy Z4T0X that we did a practice race earlier, and it can just like not go well even if you're entering with a lot of hearts. So, like especially in a race context, in a marathon context, it's yeah, I mean you're a little nervous and whatnot. So glad that worked out.
So, and the reason why Bamboo actually picked up the chest there is we need 500 rupees later on for the flippers, because we knew the threat of fake flippers, but apparently we need it for the ice and the swamp palace to actually progress. So there's no way around it to actually collect the 500 rupees and buy the flippers just like intended.
Also, I like to point out the next text boxes, which are really annoying. Hey, should we temper your sword? Yes. 10 rupees? Yes. Really temper? Yes. Just temper the sword, man. You know, I'm always like, why do they ask 3 times in a row? It doesn't make sense, but whatever.
And we're right now getting the tempered sword, and this is actually the last weapon upgrade we use, because the tempered sword does enough damage in a good way to actually beat the next upcoming bosses. The so-called Butter sword, the last one, is actually stronger, but it actually takes quite a while to
five.
catch that. And
High five. You know?
Almost, yeah.
and actually
The occasional high five.
And actually the Ganon fight changed dramatically if you go for the Butter Sword, because if you go for the Butter Sword you also go for the silver arrows, which makes the Ganon fight really fast. But apparently getting those items is even slower than just doing the rest of the game with the Tempered Sword.
Yeah, like people who know this game only from the casual playthrough, they might wonder how you can even beat the game without the so-called butter sword or gold sword and without the silver arrows, but there's like some strats on Ganon which we will see later. So stay tuned.
Iframe shenanigans. Yeah, this room is... Oh, bad RNG. So, the room BambooShadow is right now is called the Mummy Room, and the problem is the mummies move quite weird in this way, so you have to always react to them. And another problem is there's a hand that could grab you, and sometimes if you pull the statue, you forgot about the hand. You were almost down the door and then you got grabbed and you have to redo the room.
Yeah, like I could blame that on RNG, but I was just playing badly.
It's always the RNG. There are no bad players outside. And yes, we're doing like a normal bomb jump here, which actually allows us to skip a quite big chunk of the dungeon. Like normally you need several different keys to get up to that point, because normally you can remove the wall at the back, but the bomb jump here is just simply the fastest way.
I'm always really scared in that part.
Pretty
because,
casual.
Yeah, it's casual.
Like the cool thing with bomb jumps is there's like a 2-pixel setup where you don't have to bonk against the wall to make it work, and with bonking against the wall you can widen that range to like 6 pixels, so it's like not too bad if your timing isn't too bad. And yeah, like it breaks the game in quite a few parts. At quite a few parts.
Oh yes, I actually have to correct that. Earlier I said 4 pixels, but it's actually 6 pixels, you're right. And yeah, here we're seeing a little bit of save strats at Bamboo. Those mummies hit real hard, and you actually have to lit all the 4 torches. And we still have enough energy left to actually kill those mummies with the fire rod, so it's not a bad thing to go for it. Cleaned all the room.
Required.
Mothula. So, that was a good one.
Easy every time.
To explain the problem about Mothula, it's quite easy. Every time you hit Mothula, and right after you hit Mothula hit a spike, the damage actually get cancelled. So the problem is, if you don't do it correct, it could take quite a while. But we actually have different strats for that to avoid that. So Bamboo actually did a really good and fast fight. So the perfect one would be about 2 seconds, but that is really, really difficult to achieve.
You also have to get like good RNG, I guess. But like I got really good RNG, so that fight was kind of a pushover. Z4T0X gets the same RNG. Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only a little ahead because I didn't swap to the mirror.
You menus are slow. And the problem for casual players all the time is like, if you fight Morphula, you did take quite a while. And when the spikes are start moving, you have so many objects you have to interact with that you really, really get confused what you should do first. And most of the time you just, they don't know what to do and just get killed. So maybe we'll see if Bamboo will get the lottery.
Yeah, we gotta go like to the northeast of the map to collect the Quake Medallion, and after that the flippers.
And yay!
It's a crapshoot, that dash. Sometimes you get like get into the dead angle and that winkle, and that like yellow thing hits you. I don't know how they call it, ropers or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they are ropers.
Yeah, I hate them.
Like the problem is, we haven't got a setup for that to manipulate it. So you just hope for the best and dash through it. And that's why we call it lottery, because it's not really manipulable. So we just go for it and just hope for the best. And got it.
Had to rearrange a little. Oh, yeah, Z4T0X, yeah. Nice. Z4T0X got pushed out of bounds lately with that trick, so there's a lot of shenanigans that can happen in that screen, so glad we got both through safely.
The interesting fact is, if you would do an NMG race and got out of bounds because of this roper, the run wouldn't be leisured anymore.
Yeah, but you gotta finish the race anyway, so like, what we got through every shenanigans that can happen throughout the race pretty well so far, so I'm glad for that. Like, except blue balls, of course, I mean...
Maybe we should explain why it's called NMG. Like, right up now there's nothing really big happening. NMG stands for No Major Glitches. The A Link to the Past community decided over several different glitches and tricks to refer to them as no major glitches or just the minor glitches or so. And we have we have 3 categories for glitches, like you're not allowed to go out of bounds, which means you have to stay on the layers the game is intended, like the game wants to be intended. You have something called no EG, which is an exploration glitch, which means you can simply walk through all of the maps that are in the game and, for example, walk from the Ice Palace to the Swamp Palace. And then we have, I hope I pronounce it correctly, the Yusuhara Bottle Adventure, which is called YBA, which allows you to actually use the bird in the dark world and can shorten things up by quite a lot. But since we are referring to that as the major glitches, we do not allow that in the no major glitches category. If you want to see a really cool and interesting category, you maybe should watch one of the reverse boss order runs.
Yeah, if you want to see a cool category, don't watch No Major Glitches. Oh god! Instant karma. Instant karma.
And yeah, upcoming next is the Ice Palace Bomb Jump. The Ice Palace Bomb Jump is quite close to the Hammer Jump, the Bomb Jump in the Palace of Darkness. But the interesting thing is, the the Ice Palace Bomb Jump doesn't need the same precision of positioning like the Hammer Jump. you have actually several different pixels left to work with. Yeah, that should be good. Yeah, nice. So and actually this Ice Palace Bomb Jump allows us to not slash the switch, so the pillars will interact. And so we can skip quite a big chunk of the dungeon right at the end.
Biggest skip in the game, basically, I'd say.
Yeah, it is. Like normally at this point you have to go to the top, go back to the bottom of the dungeon, go around and such. And so it's not useful. And after this dungeon actually the game gets even more difficult. Because in this dungeon the big chest contains the blue armor, the blue mail. And it actually shortens your damage by half. And since we skipped that because it would take quite a long time. Nice Z4T0X. We don't get it and we don't get an armor upgrade up until the end of the game. Maybe. Bless RNG. GG.
Well done.
So the problem about Cold Stare actually is Cold Stare do quite a lot of damage. Every time I got hit by Cold Stare you actually lost 4 hearts. And even though we have 10 hearts, we only can take 3 full hits. And the problem is the dungeon before is not that easy. So most of the time you actually didn't went into the room with full hearts. That's not a chest, Z4T0X.
Nice.
GG.
Both messed up our quick kill here, but got through safely. That's like actually a big relief in a race, because you don't want to die in this dungeon. Getting back to this point like wastes 3 to 4 minutes, so I'm glad for both of us, especially for me because I screwed up in the room. But you screwed up as well before the Ice Palace Bomb Jump.
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna see like a small route divergence now, because I'm going instantly into the next dungeon, which is the Swamp Palace, and gonna collect the Ice Rod and the Ether Medallion later. I think Z4T0X is gonna do that now, right?
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll be surprised.
Right now there's an interesting point to point out. Actually the Dark World and the Light World are interacting with each other. So pulling this lever in the Light World actually changed the Dark World as well. And what you see before that was an item dash with a mirror, and somehow you can and apparently you can disappear the blocks with an item dash.
Worst RNG possible.
Yeah. Again.
Isn't it just like using the mirror in like dungeon or cave where you can't mirror out?
Yeah, like you can do an item
Yeah.
dash there, but I was just mashing the mirror to like make the block disappear once it's moving. I don't know why it works. So don't try this in a dungeon, because it will teleport you to the entrance of the dungeon. But you can use it in overworld caves to make like moving blocks disappear. Looks funny, and like a small little time save there. Also, I hate this dungeon.
I'm good.
Yeah, like maybe you're wondering why Z4T0X does this stuff now. Like Z4T0X is using a rather safer strat because you wanna enter dungeon number 6, Misery Mire, full life at best, because it's really tough if you don't enter it full life. So, but you can get hit while picking up the Ice Rod and the tablet and the Ether Medallion. I'm sorry. So it's like safer to do this before Swamp Palace, so you can go into Misery Mire full health every time.
But basically, if you do it this way or the other round, it actually not is a time save or time loss. So they should be equal while entering the Misery Mire.
Yeah, it's almost the same, but I like to do it this way around so I can utilize the item we're gonna pick up in Swamp Palace, which is the hook shot, which makes like the spin speed walking, which you saw earlier, a little easier on Death Mountain. But yeah, on the other hand, it's riskier to go into Misery Mire, so less RNG for that later.
The only good thing about the swamp actually is that the swamp is intentionally the second dungeon. So this dungeon actually includes a lot of enemies that doesn't do that much damage. So the maximum is, I think, is 2 damage. And so you are quite safe at this game and at this dungeon, sorry. And the thing is, this dungeon is more execution heavy than other ones. Like, you need to really be good and perfect at this dungeon to gain a lot of time, especially at the boss fight.
Yeah, like the reason why I don't like this dungeon is it's because it's mostly walking from point A to point B, and it's like you can't have like big hiccups like with Ice Palace where you can fail the Ice Palace bomb jump or die to the boss. But it's just like always so annoying that you like do small mistakes and they stack up and eventually you lose 10 seconds. So, hope that won't happen today. Not gonna pick up that rupee.
Yeah, so right now we do not need any rupees anymore. But a lot of runners have actually liked this reaction. If they saw a rupee dropping, you want to grab that.
Once the good RNG here, like I don't get this quite often.
Is one of you trying the quick kill at Argus?
Of course.
Of course.
Every time, easy every time.
And the fire rod?
Shoutouts. I think
Fire Rod,
Z4T0X is gonna do the fire rod.
Maybe Fire Rod, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Shoutouts to our boy Eddie slash Dark Mind Demon. He's really insanely consistent with. Oh, I got that. Nice. He's really insanely consistent with a 0 cycle Argus, but obviously it's not required to get World Reiki, so I don't do it. Shoutouts to Zelda.
Yeah. So this boss fight do have a lot of what could you say, mercenaries or stuff like that. I think they are called puffs, and if you do an item dash with a hook shot while holding out the sword and time it properly, you can actually kill them rather quick. And we call it the 0 cycle if we got it, because then Argus is not doing the spin around with the puffs. And that was actually a really good fight.
Was okay.
Yeah, it's like I would recommend for beginners to actually skip the difficult strats, because the worst thing at the Argus fight is if you eventually die because you want to go for risky strats, because you need to know exactly what you have to do at this point. This is a rather difficult fight if you want to execute it perfectly, so going for normal strats is absolutely fine, because if you have a 1 cycle it's about 12 seconds slower. So if you finish the cycle with the puffs, so you can simply go for the next phase of the boss fight, and then it's alright.
Also a cool strat there, we see this on Z4T0X's stream.
Nope,
If it's working.
No, I failed it.
Like you got like some small line up there to make that hook to the pot a little easier. But it's again, pixel perfect.
Now for my favorite dungeon in the game.
The Misery Mire. Maybe we see a bird toss. No bird toss?
But I heard Vitreous has an eye for you, Z4T0X.
Oh god.
Dang, these bad jokes.
I believe we will not stop with bad jokes. Oh, that was actually close.
Yeah, squirrels. Like these little things are called death rocks, but we call them squirrels because, like, I don't know, they're annoying.
Yeah, the problem is after you hit them, you have to wait until they are moving again. And sometimes, if you block the way with those enemies, you're like, yeah, shouldn't have happened. So like you can see at Z4T0X right now, you still have plenty of time left to kill the last puffs to actually get a one cycle rather quick. Ah, that was close actually. So if you do the fire rod strat that Z4T0X was using, you are able to do the second cycle in exact one time. And to hit Argos with a fire rod is actually quite precise. And if you're just a little bit off, you actually don't hit him the second time, and so your spin will hit him, but it's actually too less to kill him in one row. Bird toss, bird toss, bird toss, bird toss, bird toss.
He got in my way.
To be fair, it wasn't his fault. Like for some reason we have this meme, the bird toss. Like normally if you use the medallion at this point, the bird follows you up to that point and the bird gets frozen. And then you have to pick up a bird and throw it into the left or right of the water, so that's a bird toss. Just a time loss, but hey, it's good.
This is a cool room if they do it well to look after.
No, I missed it.
Close.
Shouldn't be too bad though.
So the main problem in this room is actually to hit the wizards, because the wizards will despawn after a short while and then will respawn. And if you not kill them, you are actually not allowed to progress in this room. Bird does bird.
Z4T0X, come on. Well, he's behind. He's not.
Will he do it? Last counts?
We don't have to do all A Link to the Past memes tonight.
If you remember this dungeon from casual playing, you might remember that there are like hundreds of ways. But yeah, they will just do a very fast... What is happening? Oh, alright. It's just very fast in speedrunning because there are so many keys located in the dungeon and key doors and such that you don't need at all. Like there's, for example, like one room where you just get rupees and you need a key to open that room, right? Like in the dark room, and like that's a perfect example for like how useless like half of the dungeon is. If you know the way, you can just straight go the right way.
Yeah, like this dungeon can be really confusing if you play through it casually.
And actually the room that Z4T0X did a few screens before was really well executed. The problem is if you lose a heart entering that screen, you don't have a sword beam, so you have to adjust to the fire rod. But actually Z4T0X got all the wizards before, and since the other enemies, the popos, are not disappearing, it was a rather quick room.
Already
High
2
octane
hearts
menuing.
of damage for Z4T0X from random stuff. He wants to be full health for the... Not really full health, but he wants to have like 7 hearts for Vitreous. But I guess that won't happen.
You can pick up a few hearts later.
You mean maybe Vitreous have an eye on Z4T0X?
He has an eye out for Z4T0X for sure.
Just one, or?
Like 8 or 7? I'm not sure.
Maybe we see the corner of shame.
The corner of shame. Shout out to
You did?
Scribo.
No.
Like you see in the Vitreous fight, there will several different eyes to try to attack you, and you actually have to get rid of all of them. And we call And we actually call the bottom corners the corner of shames, because you just try to stand in the corner and slash the sword as fast as possible to get rid of them. It's not really fast, it's not really safe, but it's something like, yeah, we want to try to survive this.
Cool fact here, Bamboo's gonna use his last bomb here, and the game actually switches his item back to the fire up because he has no bombs left, and that's actually quite optimal here.
To use it on the crystal switch to the left to progress.
Like a small interesting fact is when he hits the switch with the fire rod, he immediately leaves. So the switch doesn't turn, but if he leave, he actually turn it. So it's interesting that the game just didn't take like this.
Focus for Bamboo.
Good luck, Bamboo.
Thanks.
GG. That was rather risky at the end because the iframes were all about going down. And the thing is, we normally take 2 damage boosts in this place to actually hit the ice. And you can do it with 3 spins and additional arrows. But sometimes if you got worse RNG with the ice, if the ice just go away, you actually have to do 4 cycle or more. And the thing is saw by Z4T0X, Bamboo was doing that as well, but Z4T0X got quite a lot more bombs. So he was dropping the bombs before. Doesn't lose time for that example. And you can leave 2 bombs at the same time in one room. So getting rid of them before getting that actually saves time. So it's just somehow reconfiguring your room. And now good luck for you Z4T0X as well. Really, really good. So what you see at the end of Z4T0X's fight is he was doing a little safety strat at the end for preparation. Sometimes you miscount the arrows, like you need 8 arrows to kill Vitreous, and sometimes if you miscount it, you hit him just 7 times, and doing a spin at the end actually finishes one. So going for a sword slash to load a spin is just safetiness if it gone wrong or not, but it's not a time loss at all if you hit him with 8 slashes, with 8 arrows. You wanted some?
No, all good.
Okay, I thought.
Well, I am very relieved. Well done, guys.
Stop the run, it's all over. Nothing matters.
There's still Ganon left, where they can die and the lead can change.
Turtle Rock.
And Turtle Rock, of course.
And G-Tower.
And G-Tower, so basically...
And of course, if they bonk, they lose time.
Hmm. And that's the only reason why we got the Earth Medallion earlier. Ooh.
Don't forget the bomb.
Thanks.
Actually, what you saw right there was an item dash. Like, you can use the item dash with the medallions as well, and normally it doesn't have a...
Worst RNG possible. Again.
But apparently at the top of the Turtle Rock there are stairs, so you can get spin speed at this point, because you not only can get the spin speed with a sword spin, you can also get it, for example, with the medallions and, for example, what was the other thing? The hook shot. This room is scary, maybe? Yeah, he's doing the spike skip so far, yes, nice. And going, yeah, he's going for risky strats. So you damage boost through the spikes, and everything went well. And if you remember, we manipulate specific enemies to kill, so we probably and hopefully get a fairy drop right now, because in the next room there are pokies, and if we kill them, they can drop 2 items and a special one. The special one will be the key, and hopefully we get a fairy to actually get health back. Oh, unlucky. Like the drop chance, you have 2 times the chance to get a drop, and every drop is about 50%. And yeah, the jumps can be really oh, does it change back?
We'll see.
I don't think so, because otherwise you should have stopped the screen for a bit. And yes, the problem about the turtle rock actually is we have a lot of enemies which can hit you quite hard. And without having an armor upgrade, it's so difficult to not die just because of getting hit.
Yeah, also no hard pieces.
Oh yeah, for sure. You actually do not get any heart pieces, so normally you could be at around 18 hearts at this point. And a fairy, nice.
Nice cute bunny.
Shoutouts to Blunt Bunny.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That was
Really
close.
Oh man.
Also a good thing there, like if you mess up that room, then the fairy can heal you up again.
Yeah. The only problem Z4T0X will have is if he got the fairy, he do not have full heart, so he can't use a sword beam threat for the next room.
Yeah, like a minor throwback.
Yeah, but that's good. So he can survive a hit from the from the jumps.
Holy fuck.
By the way,
Sorry. Sorry.
Holy Grail, he was saying.
Yeah.
So the problem about the jumps, they hit quite hard. And some runners died just because if you open the chest and the jump hit you the first time, you are stopping the animation of the chest, so you got the item. But right on the next frame, the jump will hit you again, and if you were low on health, you actually die.
It's a risky screen.
Yeah, a little bit risky, but we abuse the iframes to actually not get hit from the spike roller.
Quite a lot of speed tech going on in Turtle Rock, so like that's a pretty interesting dungeon in my opinion, like from a speedrunner's point of view. If you compare it to a swamp,
Yeah.
where you just like walk around for 7 minutes.
And that's basically the reason why the Turtle Rock is such a difficult dungeon, because you have a lot of strats that needs to be executed perfectly. And also we have damage boosts and such, so you can lose a lot of time in this dungeon if you don't do it correctly. Ooh, swag. So what Bumble was doing there is called the laser skip. And he was actually doing the most risky strat, because you have to hit a specific pixel to actually get that. And he did it. And nice. Another iframe abuse. And so he could dash straight to the small gap and the laser don't hit him.
Less RNG.
Trinex is the only reason we actually collect the ice rod. So in order to beat Trinex, you need the ice rod.
And the best part is, if you forgot about the ice rod, you will remember at this fight. Another problem.
Like my first Heroes run, yeah, I just wanted to shout out.
So another problem at the Trinex fight is probably your energy bar, because if you mess up your strat for the fight and to get out of magic, you're actually not able to kill the boss, because the fire and ice rod is required for that. And good job, Bamboo. This was actually the quickest way to kill him in the second cycle.
I screwed up the top-down strat a little bit, but
Yeah, that was okay. The thing is, at the beginning of the second cycle of or the second phase of Trinex, you can actually hit him all over his body. But after, oh, that was close.
I even waited. What the heck?
But the problem. But the thing is, after Trinex walks for quite a bit of time, he actually just have a hitbox at the middle of his body. And Z4T0X is doing it safe, that's good. I believe in Z4T0X. Yeah, the thing is, the heart doesn't really help, because Z4T0X is hitting. No, Trinex is hitting with 4 hearts. Good luck.
Bamboo, I heard the
Nice.
boss key is at the right side.
Don't worry,
How many chests you guys guess?
Yeah, so far, if you guys notice, we're actually playing a randomizer, but it's a vanilla seed.
I'm going for the vanilla location.
And yes, the last dungeon of the game is the Ganon Tower, and the Ganon Tower is basically, how would you say that, a mix of all the strats you actually need to use all over the game. So apparently the Ganon Tower is one of the best dungeons, in my opinion, of the game, but also somehow the most difficult one, because you really need to be good at this game. But in terms of speedrunning, it does looks really, really, really good.
Even use the boomerang. I mean, think of it. Like, finally it has some use again.
Yeah, normally you're just using the boomerang for some safety strats, like to freeze enemies or so. So a lot of people actually use the boomerang in the mummy room in Skullwoods to actually paralyze the mummies and to have more time with that. By the way, where Z4T0X is right now, it's really interesting for people who start doing her first low percent run. The thing is, you can't hit the things enemies with the Master Sword, with the normal one, and most likely everyone doing this the first time dashing into those just got killed because they do quite a lot of damage.
You also refired all the Lightwork bosses in Ganon's Tower.
And now we have Bamboo on ice. If you really want to see a really, really cool strat in this room, you should actually watch the TAS, because the TAS actually is doing the ice physics really, really well.
I think this color is red, Bamboo.
I don't like this.
So yeah, the problem is if you don't kill the last armor knight as quick as possible, he actually get an additional cycle.
Vanilla boss key, what?
Vanilla boss key. Did anybody guess one key? One chest? No.
Come on, Ben. What are you doing there?
This was a really awkward safe strat I did there. But I really don't like having low health in G-Tower. I'm really bad at G-Tower. Exhibit A. Another NMG tutorial.
A lot of arrows actually for you. So maybe Z4T0X can pull off the correct strat here. Exactly one. And it's really rare that you actually can skip the chest to the top left, because you need the arrows for the rat mimics in the upcoming room.
So now we're coming to the gauntlet at Bamboo Screen. Like, this is basically a mix of some rooms that just prove like all your skills basically, and also like improvising on enemy movement and such, which is like very hard. You can like easily lose like 8 hearts, and still it's not necessarily your fault, because like enemies
Wow.
are nasty.
The interesting fact is the names of those enemies are Red Z4T0X and Blue Z4T0X. Yeah, it's Z4T0X. I have no idea why they are looking like horse heads, but it's Z4T0X compared to Nintendo. So actually you're able to pull off a 1 cycle at Lenmo, because the Tempered Sword and the Fire Rod hits for about 4 damage. And the Lemolas can actually take 8 damage, and so it's really pull off to the 1 cycle. But sometimes if we got short hops or got hit by a rock or so, it's really difficult to get back to that.
Do we have time for a donation?
Yeah.
Go for it.
we have a $5 donation from Citizen Bane, who says, a huge thank you to everyone involved. I wish I would be able to donate more to support European speedrunning and a good global charity. What an amazing event. Money goes towards Runner's Choice. Thank you very much. Every dollar counts.
Even though Bamboo's ahead by like 20 to 30 seconds, there's still Ganon they have to fight, and they can still go pretty much everything wrong. They can fall down, they can die, and that's the opportunity for Z4T0X to catch up. So it's for Bamboo to not choke and lose his run.
We still have Moldom.
Are we going to see a hover?
Yeah, I heard Bamboo earlier saying he will definitely do a hover.
But there's no validation chest then.
Oh, that's true. So, cover it, and. Oh, perfect. He didn't validate the run. It's over. So yeah, this is basically another meme. Like, I think it's most likely referred to the randomizer guys. They always open the chest after Moldom to prove that the chest contains something. So just a meme. And yes, the Aghanim 2 fight does have RNG involved again. It's basically like the first Aghanim fight, but instead of one Aghanim we have three Aghanims. And the copies of Aghanim will always spawn an energy ball. Nice. But always spawn an energy ball, but Aghanim still have the chance by 50% to hit with a blue ball.
That was a pretty good free
Really
cycle.
good, yeah.
Bamboo, what's your PB again?
I think like 128.34 or something.
This could be a PB.
Yeah. Let's see. Like, I got the usual jokes in Ganon's Tower, but I'm used to that.
Could be PB by about 10 seconds, I guess.
Depending on box.
Yes.
Okay. I really messed up something there. Don't know what, but...
Well done.
Was okay. And time is once you enter...
What was the time
well done.
again? 28:48?
No.
Still PP or... No, okay.
Nice.
GG.
So I was just shushing there for Z4T0X because like the Ganon fight can be quite challenging.
Yeah.
It's the end of the run, but yeah, I think both worked pretty well for both of us.
We should explain one additional thing at this fight. I want to interrupt you both. If you actually lit the torch to the left before the right torch goes out, the right torch will actually never go out. This is a actually pretty useful strat for the speedrun, so you just have to care about the left one. And using the fire rod the fire rod does use a lot of magic, so having just to lit up one torch is way better. But even if you go for safety, you could lit the torch with the lamp, which is really cheap to use, so there's always a good way. So yeah.
Yeah, like, so this worked better than expected, actually. We're already having nightmares, like, oh my god, like 140 estimate, isn't it like a little too low? Because like that could have happened, like the death at Trinex.
Codes there.
Codes there, yeah, like this is a really risky speed run and we didn't get the powder, so I'm glad everything worked out. I almost got a PB there, so that was pretty well. I guess I'm 1 second behind my PB, so that's pretty neat for a race there. And yeah, but like that's 80%, no major glitches. Thank you so much to Soccerstu, Krillepan, and Stella93 for the commentary. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested, like, Link to the Past also has like a Discord, and of course the speedrun.com page, so they got lots of resources. There are also pretty nice tutorials if you're interested in learning the speed game. Also, there's talking about speed game, we got a speedrun channel called Speed Gaming, and there will be a tournament. So if you like this game, if you like 80% no major glitches, check out twitch.tv/speedgaming and speedgaming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got like lots of A Link to the Past no major glitches racing coming up in the next few months. But like that's about it for me. So I think we're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for watching in the room, thanks for watching at home, and we'll see you soon. Take care.